So there's a few things hanging over the world of Bitcoin, right? Is that Bitcoin went way up over the last 2 days, but that also creates a problem. All right, let's talk about why Bitcoin and the entire crypto market are down today. Bitcoin just dropped nearly 9%, and major altcoins like Ethereum, XRP, and Solana are seeing even bigger losses. So what's happening? First, we have a technical factor at play, the CME gap. When Bitcoin crashed last week, it left a price gap between $92,800 and $94,000 on the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Today, that gap has officially closed. Now, closing a CME gap is significant because Bitcoin has a history of retracing back to these levels. But here's the issue. It created a new gap between $84,650 and $94,000, meaning we could still see more volatility ahead. The CME gap occurs when Bitcoin's price moves significantly, while the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, CME Bitcoin futures market, is closed, typically over weekends. Because traders expect these gaps to be filled, it ends up being a self-fulfilling prophecy. Second, we have Trump's announcement about a U.S. strategic crypto reserve. Initially, this brought optimism because it suggested Bitcoin could be part of a national reserve. But the problem, some investors expected a Bitcoin-only reserve, and now they're questioning how serious this plan really is. That uncertainty is adding to today's sell-off. Then there's the macro factor. Trump just announced new tariffs on Mexico and Canada and plans to double tariffs on China from 10% to 20%. That's got markets on edge, and when uncertainty rises, risk assets like Bitcoin tend to take a hit. And I want to explain to you what the CME gap is. Now, the CME gap is a phenomenon in Bitcoin specifically, but it's also in other markets. But it happens more often with Bitcoin because it's a 24-hour market. So what happens is that there's a difference in price. Now, the CME is the Mercantile Exchange in Chicago. They trade most commodities, but they also trade Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. Now, but that market is a traditional market, which means it's open only on the weekdays. Monday through Friday closed at, I believe, at 4 or 5 o'clock in Chicago. If you ever watched Ferris Bueller, they went to there and they watched all the people trading. And remember that dude was doing all the hand signals trying to copy the traders on the floor? That was the CME exchange, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. Let's say Bitcoin gets to 94 like it did 93, 94 yesterday. Now there's a gap. So it closed on Friday at 85, opens back up at 94. Now the traders get there in the morning and they say, wow, Bitcoin's up almost $10,000. There was a candle that went up $10,000. There's an opportunity to short this. It all happens because of group psychology. Everybody at once said, there's no way this is sustainable. So let's short this back down to the 85,000 where it was on Friday. And also some mechanisms in the market also cause this to happen. Because Friday's closed, people think it went up too high. It's going to look like it's overbought. So a lot of people are going to come on and push it down. Whenever there's a big jump in Bitcoin or cryptocurrency like that happens over the weekend, that normally is a drawdown. That doesn't mean that the strategic reserve did not work or did not have any effect. It means that that gap has to be closed before it continues on to 100. It means that there will be a retracement or a little bit of a pullback on the way to 100,000. It's going back to all-time highs in a month, maybe 2 months. But because of that gap, we may see some hesitation going forward because the CME gap does cause it caused a record-breaking gap in CME futures. And it's often a signal that the price could retrace to fill it. So the fear and greed index is still in fear. Despite the rally, investor sentiment is hesitant, suggesting room for further upside if confidence returns. So April, by the beginning of May, we'll be back at all-time, we'll be past all-time highs in Bitcoin and more than likely Ethereum as well. Trump did announce a strategic reserve. He changed it from the Bitcoin strategic reserve, which he talks about at the Bitcoin conference in 2024 in Nashville. I was there, I saw him. The Bitcoin executive order establishes a U.S. strategic crypto reserve, marking a shift from a stockpile to an actively managed reserve. Now, one of the biggest things the scariest thing about this is, remember, Bybit got hacked. Bybit is the second biggest exchange in the world. So the reserve is going to include Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano. Now, I talked about Cardano 3-4 days ago. People think it's a dead coin. It's not dead. But the funny thing is that when I knew that Trump was going to include Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then you can look at my post that I posted yesterday morning. I put a post that said Trump's starting a crypto reserve. He listed XRP as first. The next one was a video. And I said, Trump is going to add Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP, Solana, and Cardano to the strategic reserve. The first few messages I got, he never said anything about Bitcoin. You're a liar. He didn't say that. You know, those corporate dudes come out, oh, he didn't say that about Bill. Bitcoin wasn't included on the list. I'm sick of you influencers always telling things that just aren't true. They came for me right after that. I'm just sick of your lies. Unsubscribed. Why you gotta tell me you're unsubscribed? Just leave. I'm not forcing you to be here. Unsubscribe. I'm sick of you guys. I don't know what you guys mean, but they tell me that all the time. And then an hour later, Trump revised the message and he said, oh yeah, I'm sorry, I forgot to include Bitcoin and Ethereum. And then all those messages stopped. Now, I knew he was going to include Bitcoin and Ethereum because it didn't make sense for him not to. That's why I concluded it in the video. Even though it wasn't in the original message, but it was obvious he was going to include. Why would he just turn down Bitcoin? That's stupid. The U.S. already has reserves of Bitcoin through the Bitcoin that they seized over the years. So, of course, they're going to do that. Why would they just not add that they already have at cheap prices? I'm sorry, at free prices. They got it at zero. So, of course, they're going to add Bitcoin and Ethereum. XRP, the XRP ledger is built on Ethereum, so they have to include that. So I knew that, but then all that stopped after that. So Trump did, but I knew he was going to add Bitcoin and Ethereum, but the key is, that's not the key. The key is that he listed XRP first. Now, I said this last night on my Strategy Sunday, is that Trump is that's why you have to watch people. Trump is a stream of consciousness dude. There's different personality types. I know people like him. A lot of CEOs are like him. They just, whatever's in their mind, they just brain and mouth. And that works for people that are high functioning like him. If you watch him, he tells you what he's gonna do. He has no filter. So he went on Twitter and just typed it out. The first thing in his mind was XRP. That's why he put XRP first, because Brad Garlinghouse has been getting to him for months. That's the reason why XRP was first. Now, after he posted it out there, remember, Trump took a lot of money from Bitcoiners. He went to the Bitcoin conference. He got, I think, $10 million to speak at that conference. He also had an $800,000 plate dinner at that conference. I'm not paying that. I would have liked to go, but I'm not paying $800,000. That's crazy. Maybe I should have paid, because now those same people are being invited to the White House on Friday. Somebody told me, yeah, you should have paid for that. He told me that this week, but I'm sorry, I can't. I'm a poor boy from Tennessee. I can't pay $800,000 for a dinner with nobody. But XRP was top of mind. And that was the most important thing, is that XRP was top of mind. Now, Bitcoin, Ethereum, all those other coins are going to do well. Cardano actually went up the most because it was depressed the most. So it actually went up 60% in one day. So after that, Trump announced the strategic reserve. Bitcoin surged 10% up to 94,000. XRP jumped 33%. I think at one point it was up 38%. Solana jumped 25%. ADA surged 60%. Ethereum rebounded. It was down that day. It's been one of the worst performing cryptos of the year. We're going to talk about how that's actually a great opportunity. White House Crypto Summit is on Friday, expected to provide more details on the reserve's purpose and strategy. So we're going to see some good news come out of that on Friday. So hopefully they can resolve this SEC lawsuit this week, maybe next week. But those two things together, along with the Bitcoin crypto strategic reserve, is going to push XRP past all-time highs. It's going to push Ethereum back to all-time highs. And it's going to push Bitcoin back over $100,000 here in the next month, maybe 6 weeks. And all of this will legitimize crypto finally as a key financial asset for the United States. North Korean hackers have stole 500 Ethereum, 1.5 billion. They've already laundered or sold 70% of that. But the thing is that nobody's stopping them. The government hasn't come out and said anything about it. Remember, these are North Korean hackers who are using that money to fund a nuclear weapons program. This is a huge deal. And nobody's saying anything. Nobody's stopping them. There's no attempts to try to get the money back. That's why I believe it was manipulation. I'm not even sure if it really happened. Look at the timeline. 500% increase in shorts on Ethereum for the last 2-3 months. Trump delays the strategic reserve, which could have been because of XRP. We don't know the reason. I believe it was XRP, but it could have been because of this too. He delays the strategic reserve. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, $1.5 billion worth of crypto gets stolen. Remember, a lot of hedge funds, a lot of rich elite in the banks have shorts out that they make money on the way down. So they make a ridiculous amount of money on those Ethereum shorts. Ethereum drops, they close the shorts out, they make a lot of money, rebuy the Ethereum. Week later, Trump says, I'm going to do a strategic reserve, including Ethereum. Ethereum recovers, goes back to all-time highs. They make all their money, but they made money in two ways, down and up. Maybe 3 or 4, 10 times more than they would have made just holding Ethereum long term. And they knew the play, so it's no risk to them. When you know what's coming, the risk is zero. There was actually somebody that posted and said, right before Trump posted that, somebody took out somebody put $2.5 million around that amount into options or leverage trades on Bitcoin, which ended up being like 100 million or so. Maybe somewhere 100 million when you leverage it out. You may have put 2 million, did 50 times leverage, got 100 million. So if all it would have taken is Bitcoin to drop 0.25%, and that person would have got wiped out. And they did it right before the announcement. Trump announced it. Of course, Bitcoin spikes up. Dude closes his position, makes $6 million from $2 million. Because it's a leverage trade, you make a lot more. Because he was trading 100 million, even though it was all borrowed money, but he was trading 100 million. So he made $6 million off a $2 million trade, closed out sometime yesterday evening. Now, you don't think that dude knew that? That's a big thing to do, not knowing what's coming. Because if Bitcoin would have dropped a tiny bit, he would have got liquidated, lost it all. So he had to know something, or just got extraordinarily lucky. All of this is manipulated. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't participate in the market. I played pro basketball in Puerto Rico. I never would have made the NBA, but I did play with some NBA players that either were going on their way up to the NBA or on their way down back to us. So I played with a lot of NBA players. JJ Barea was our point guard. He played for Mavericks. He was a great player for many years. But like I said, is that nobody has stopped the hackers. There's been no efforts to stop them. That's why I still believe that this was somehow manipulated or some type of plan to get these hedge funds or somebody to make a bunch of money on Ethereum going down and on the way back up. I appreciate you guys. Please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so. And like the video. I'll see you on Wednesday.